Social media has become a key platform for customer service, and people are now accustomed to interacting over social media. So this gives us the unique opportunity to connect with our customers directly and to offer convenient and personalized support. We can also use social media as a tool to build stronger relationships and boost customer loyalty. So let's take a moment and just think about what the possibilities are when we start using AI to augment our social media presence. Number one, we have the ability to listen. We want to analyze user comments, user feedback, user sentiment towards our brand. And this will help us identify areas for improvement. It'll also help us to identify trends. In addition to that, we can use AI to boost efficiency and save time. If we can automate repetitive tasks like scheduling social media posts, if we can repurpose existing high-performance content and put it on a different social media platform, those are great time savers. And if we can create content, generate ideas, and create personalized captions or social media posts using AI, those are great time savers. But probably the biggest time saver for the customer service staff member is the ability to set up automated responses. And now we've got AI sitting there 24/7, responding to frequently asked questions and customer inquiries. And later in this course, I'll show you exactly how to set this up. And just bear in mind, eventually, we're going to release a comprehensive course focusing strictly on AI social management. So in this course, we're just going to hit some of the very basic highlights and most basic elements of managing social media using AI. In this video, we're just going to take a very brief look at a couple of tools that we can use to manage and automate social media and how those tools are utilizing AI. And so there are multiple options out there for different social media management tools like Hootsuite and Plannable. And these tools have been around for a while. What they basically do is connect all of our social media accounts in a single dashboard and allow us to do things like reshare and comment and like comments, all from one platform. They also allow us to monitor for keywords and hashtags and keep an eye on what's going on related to our organization in social media. And these tools have been doing this stuff even before AI, and it's a great way to improve customer sentiment. It's also a great way to save time because now we can post to multiple social media platforms simultaneously without having to go to every single one of them. And I'm going to do a demo of Hootsuite in the next video, but what I would like to explore first is how is a tool like Hootsuite or a tool like Plannable embracing AI? And most of the AI use cases and most of the tools that you're going to see in these platforms for AI are going to center around generating content for social media posts, generating captions for videos, generating ideas for new content. And here we can see a real simple example on Hootsuite of writing tweets fast with an AI tweet generator. And so you can see I've already filled this out here. I've chosen English as the language. There are many different styles that we can choose from. I just chose inspirational. The description is we want to learn all about customer service using AI with Rick Cresciat trainer tests. And here's some keywords: fun, quick, easy, AI, chatbot, and ChatGPT. So let's click the little generate post button, and it is using Owly Writer to generate these little social media posts, these tweets. And so that's one of the ways that we can save significant amounts of time using AI and also get tweets that are probably better than the tweets that we could write ourselves. Now, in the next video, we'll take a deeper look at Hootsuite and what it's capable of. But just understand that as time goes on, the AI capabilities of systems like Hootsuite and Planable are only going to grow and become more comprehensive. In this video, I'll demonstrate some of the key features that you can get with a service like Hootsuite. And as you can see here, I've already begun the sign up process for Hootsuite. Now, normally with Hootsuite, you can get a 30-day trial for free. I actually got a 60-day trial for free because I found a link on their YouTube channel that would allow me to do that. So I've got a 60-day free trial to play with. And so right off the bat, it's asking me which social accounts I want to add. And I want to manage multiple social media accounts from one dashboard. So I'm going to start by clicking Facebook, and I'm going to have to authenticate to Facebook. So I'll do that now. And then within Facebook, I'll pick the accounts that I want to add. So here's the account for my company. I'll click add next to that. And I also want to add LinkedIn, so I'll click LinkedIn. And now that I've successfully signed into LinkedIn, I'm going to go ahead and add my company page for LinkedIn here. And I could add my personal profile as well, but I'm not going to do that. There we go. So now I've got my Facebook page and my LinkedIn page, both linked to my Hootsuite account. So I'm going to start by clicking on the little Composer button here. And under Composer, I'm going to choose a new post that I want to create. And I want this post to appear on my LinkedIn and my Facebook pages. And then here I can simply include the text or links that I want to add to this post. And so now I've added the text to my post that I want to appear in the post. And I can also do things like AI hashtag suggestions. And so if I click on this little button here, it's going to give me a bunch of hashtags that I may want to utilize for this post. And so I'm going to just pick a couple of key ones here, and I'll go ahead and include those as hashtags to my posts. I'm also going to add a link to my post, so I'll go ahead and paste my link in here. And notice I have the ability to shorten that link with Owly. And if we go ahead and look at the finished product for the post, it's not going to look like what you see here. It's actually going to shorten that link. And then if I want to include an image here, I can do that. I can select an image on my computer, or I can just hit this little book icon and find an image that is automatically built in here for me. So I'm just going to search for AI. I'll go ahead and select an image here that I want to include with my post. And there we go. So now I've got a nice little image that's going to be part of this post. Now I am posting this to both LinkedIn and Facebook, and you'll notice we see the LinkedIn icon here and the Facebook icon here. Let me go ahead and click on the LinkedIn icon. And what I can now do is I can actually change the way that I want the post to look on LinkedIn specifically, and I can change the way that I want it to look on Facebook specifically. And the idea here is I might not want to post the exact same thing to Facebook that I want to post to LinkedIn. Now notice what we have here, an enhance button. We can enhance what's been written here with AI. Let's give it a try. Let's click on the little button here. And what do I want to do? Do I want to fix the spelling and grammar? Do I want to optimize the length and the tone? Do I want to inspire engagement? I'd like to do that. I'd like to inspire engagement. So let me click on that option. And I can see a bunch of different options here that have been automatically generated for me. So I'm going to choose one of these, and it'll actually update my post. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to replace the link that it provided here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste in the link to my website. And so now let's take a look at what the preview looks like for Facebook. Excited about the potential of AI in customer service? Stay ahead with our upcoming AI courses. And so, yeah, now I've got a little bit of a different post for Facebook. versus what I have for LinkedIn. And so now I'm happy with my posts. I'm just going to click schedule for later. And I'm just going to allow Hootsuite to tell me when I should be posting this. It's giving me a recommended time and date to post this. And so I'll just choose whatever they suggest here. I'll choose the date and the time. And I'll click done. And once I've done that, now my schedule is all set. So these posts aren't going to happen immediately. You can see it's bringing me right to my little calendar here, the planner screen. And both of these posts are going to go out at a certain time on Friday. And while we're in here, just a few more things I want to show you. So now let's assume that we want to see what's going on in the connected accounts that we have here. And I can see everything that's going on. What are the posts? What are the responses to those posts? I can see all of that within Streams. And there's a little dashboard over here to the right where I can see my mentions and all of my posts and my timeline here, and basically just see what's going on with my social media at a glance. I can also get inspiration. So if I want to create a new post, and I'm not really sure what I want to post right now, I can start something new from scratch, or I could repurpose one of my top posts. So let's look at one of my top posts on LinkedIn, and I'll just go ahead and grab one of those. And what's going to happen now is Hootsuite is going to automatically generate a new post for me, and I can then create a new post based on that. Now, the last few features that I just very briefly want to show you here, we've got our inbox. So we can see messages coming in across all of these social media platforms. We can go to advertise, and we can create Facebook or LinkedIn ad campaigns. We can go to analytics, and we can learn all sorts of information about how my brand is performing on social media, what metrics we should focus on, what are the best times to post, what are our best performing posts. And so that's a great way to leverage a service like Hootsuite or Plannable or one of these other options to save as much time as possible when managing your social media. In this video, I'll quickly show you how to create images for social media using Gemini and ChatGPT. And this is going to be an extremely brief video. I just want to show you some of the possibilities here. So let's start with Gemini. And I'm going to imagine that I run a donut shop and I sell these pink donuts. So I want to create an image showing pink donuts with a white background. And I'm using the free version of Gemini. So let's see what it comes up with here. It should generate an image that I could potentially use for a social media post. And look at that, it gave me 4 different images. So this is a really easy way for me to create image content fast and easily without having to actually take any pictures of anything. Let's try something similar with ChatGPT. Now I am using the paid version here. So you have to pay for ChatGPT if you want to generate images. So I'm going to generate an image showing a beautiful pool and some people enjoying it. And maybe I'm a pool company and I want to market my product. And there we go. There's the results. And this isn't exactly what I was looking for. I wanted an image that looked more like a photograph. So I'm just going to quickly hit the edit button. And you notice there's a little edit button here on my prompt. And I'm going to say, make it look like a photograph. And this is the way you want to approach working with ChatGPT or Gemini. If you don't get what you want, go ahead and just modify the prompt and see if it can come up with something that's a better representation of what you were actually asking for. And here's the results. This looks more like a photograph, but it still doesn't look that realistic. So I'm going to say, yeah, it was better, but it's still not perfect. Just for the fun of it, let's give it a shot here in Gemini and see what Gemini comes up with and compare the quality. And there's the results. So a beautiful pool and people enjoying it. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know if these are great. Here's a pool, but there's nobody enjoying it. And this isn't a swimming pool. So as we kind of work on these sorts of things, we may need to modify it, right? We may need to really hone in on the perfect prompt. And so here you can see I have significantly altered my prompt, and I'm going to go ahead and update it here. And I'm also going to give ChatGPT another shot with this updated prompt. And I'm actually explaining, hey, we're going to use this to market our pool installation company. It should be an in-ground pool in a backyard. And there we go. Now, there's still not many people enjoying any of these pools, but this fourth one looks pretty good. There's a pool with some people enjoying it. Let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. There we go. And that's what ChatGPT came up with. So regardless of the exact outcomes here, a couple things that I want you to take away from this lesson. Don't be hesitant to work with, modify, and experiment and play with these prompts. And yeah, we can use ChatGPT, Gemini, or other AI tools to quickly and easily generate images. Once again, we've reached the point where we're going to perform a hands-on lab exercise. And this lab is all about generating images. So we are going to use Gemini to create an image that we can use for marketing or really for whatever you want. And again, these labs are a good guideline, but try to think of things that you might actually need for your business and use your own prompts instead. So you can use the lab exactly as written, but you might get more out of it if you try different things and play around a little bit. And in the second part of the lab, we are going to generate a video with Lumen 5. You can sign up for a free account here and try it out. And again, feel free to modify the contents of this lab to match the needs of your own particular organization.
At this part in the course, you're probably really excited and you're ready to dive into chatbots. Before you go there, I want you to think about how you feel when you interact with a chatbot. Specifically, if you've had a recent negative experience with a chatbot. Think about it. You're saying the same thing again and again. Or you're saying the same thing but using different words because it says, try and phrase it differently. Let's try that again. And it's so infuriating. Remember, at the end of the chatbot, at the end of the other side, it's a human, it's a customer. So as you train your chatbot, you really want to think about, well, gosh, what are some of those things that I think in my head a customer might be asking for? To make it easier for you, I created a document for you. So you can think about what your chatbot should say or not say. Keep in mind, and we mentioned this in the tips at the beginning there, of the language your customers may use, the way in which they may be speaking. These are just samples that we've come up with. So you're probably going to start with some general inquiries. Maybe if it's a physical store, what are the opening hours? What are the support hours? Things like that. Really take the lens of your team and company and products and put them on top of this list here. Account management, website navigation or other sections, product and service knowledge inquiries. As you look through these list of inquiries, you'll probably be like, oh, wait a second, the customer wouldn't say it that way. That's great. Again, edit it to make sure that the way in which you're training the chatbot is the way that the customer would ask for it. Things get a little more complicated if people are asking for return or exchange, if it's a physical item. And then as people want to give feedback and want to escalate things. Remember, maybe they're going to say something like, hey, I need to talk to a manager or escalate this instead of how can I file a complaint? So think about, look at the knowledge you have, the data you already have about how your customers interact with your team and think about how you want to train your chatbot. I hope this has been useful. I'll talk to you again soon.
So up to this point, we've been using tools like ChatGPT and Gemini to create content and to train staff for customer service scenarios. But now we want to take it a step further. And we're going to keep this extremely simple, but we are going to create our own chatbot. So we don't have to do any programming, any coding, anything like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to create our own custom chatbot online. And it's going to answer questions for us. So if we have frequently asked questions, well, those questions aren't new. They're not original. They're not unique. And they're not complicated to answer. But if our customer service reps are answering those same questions over and over and over again every day, that's a huge time commitment and a lot of time that could be better spent handling more complex issues. So AI thrives on answering those frequently asked questions, and it allows us to free up our actual human customer service representatives to answer more complicated questions. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to create your own custom AI chatbot online using a service called Chatbase. This is going to be a very simple and easy process. We are going to use the free version of Chatbase, so you can try this without committing to any kind of monetary expense here. And we have to bear in mind that when we create this chatbot, it's only going to know what we tell it to know. So we're going to give it some information and some sources to find out information. So maybe what we want to provide it with is documentation that's going to help with frequently asked questions. Like, for example, what are our return policies, our locations, or our hours? We want to provide all of that information to the chatbot so that it can properly answer those questions. And like I mentioned, the service we're going to be using is Chatbase, and you can see a link to Chatbase shown here on your screen. There will also be a written lab that will walk you through how to set up your own chatbot in Chatbase. So here we are at the landing page for Chatbase, and I've already created an account, but if you haven't done so, you should click the Try for Free button to set up your own account. I'll click Login and we'll log into my account. And so here I am at the landing page to create a new chatbot. I'll just click New Chatbot. And on the left, I'm going to create a chatbot for my website. And specifically, I'm going to reference one particular course on my website. I'm going to use a relatively small web page so that this process goes quickly. And so when I click on the Fetch Links button here, it's going to look over my little website and find all of the links that are on that website. And here you can see them listed. Now, again, this is a very small site. If I were to do my entire site, there would be many more links. And so I'm going to create my chatbot. And what it's going to do is it's going to learn information from the website that I gave it. So the chatbot is now training itself. It's learning about all of the information that's available on that website so that it can answer frequently asked questions. And so it looks like it's trained and ready to go. Let's try a couple prompts. And so the first prompt I'm going to give it is, what is the refund policy? And I'll just click the little arrow here to send that prompt to my new chatbot. And look at that, it's coming up with the perfect answer. So it's answering the questions based on the information that it found on my website. Let's give it another prompt. What does this course include? And it's telling you it provides lessons on a bunch of different topics here, high quality illustrations and animations to help simplify complex concepts. That's great. Let's ask it one more simple, frequently asked question. Who is the instructor? And it should come back with my name and give you information about me. And so now in less than 5 minutes, we've created our own custom chatbot that we can integrate with things like Facebook Messenger, or we can use to respond to email queries. But we haven't really properly trained it. So we'll take a look at how to do that in the next video. In our last video, we created a really simple chatbot. We gave it our website and it learned information from our website. And we found that it was able to answer some questions accurately, but it has a very limited set of information up to this point. And what I want to do is I want to train this chatbot. So think of training the chatbot much the same as you would think of training your customer service representatives. I need to give it all of the critical information that it's going to need to answer frequently asked questions. And there are a few different ways that we can train our chatbot. We're going to look at how to train it with files and text. And we have to keep in mind that our chatbot's only going to know what we tell it. It doesn't have access to the entire internet. It can't find the answers on its own. But what it will do is it will take whatever information we give it, it will ingest it, and then it will intelligently answer the questions that it is asked based on the information that we've provided it. And so here's the chatbot that we created in the last video. And we're going to click on sources. And right now, the only source of information that this chatbot has is my website. So I want to give it more information. And there's a few different ways that I can do that. Number one, I could click on text here and I could just manually tell it things. So I'm just going to paste some text in here and I'm telling it, I work with Lila Bullingtown, an awesome leader. So she helps me create these courses. Courses are available for AI tools, things like people leaders and marketing and customer service. And so now it knows all of this additional information that I've given it. And just like training a human, now I'm going to click the retrain button and it's going to absorb all of this information and it's going to use it to answer questions moving forward. So I can give it more information by simply putting text into these sources. But I could also choose files. So for example, let's say that I have a Word document or a PDF file that contains my return policy, or that contains information on the hours of all of my branches. I could upload those files here in sources and it will learn about all of that information. So all that I've added here is some simple text. And now I'm going to go to my chatbot and I'm going to ask it a few questions. And let's see if it learned from that text that I inserted. So I'm simply going to ask it, what types of courses are offered? And it should come back with information from the text that we put in. And it looks like it's working. Let's ask it another question. And I'm simply going to ask it, does Rick Creasy work with anyone to create this content? And based on the text that I put in, it should come up with the ideal response. So the more information I give it, the better trained this chatbot will be. And the good news is that it doesn't know anything that I don't give it. So it's not going to come up with answers for things that it doesn't know. Now, let's test that theory out a little bit. And to test it out, I'm just going to ask, how old is Rick Creasy? And I have not given it that information. So it should not be able to answer that question. And what it basically says is, I'm not sure. Now, if this was a customer asking a question about a course, like for example, say a customer asks, which courses feature lectures on Lumen 5? It's basically saying it doesn't know. And the customer has kind of reached a dead end here. Now, we've trained the chatbot, but we're going to do other things with this chatbot. We're going to give it a little bit of a personality, and we also want to tell it what to do if it doesn't know the answer. So those are some of the things we'll look at in the upcoming videos. In this video, we'll learn how to give our AI chatbot its own personality and teach it some etiquette. And again, these are things that we might want to do with the humans that work for us. So why would we not want to do this with our chatbot? And one of the things that we need to control is how creative are we going to allow this chatbot to be? Are we going to allow it to try and figure things out even if it's not certain? Or do I want to be really strict and structured with the responses that it can provide? So here we are back in the chat bot that we created in ChatBase, and I'm going to click on Settings. And within Settings, I'm going to click Model. And so the model here is, how do we want this chatbot to behave? Now we're telling it we want it to act as a support agent, and we want to give it a specific name. So right now the name is AI Assistant, but maybe I want to name it something different. Like, for example, maybe I want to call it Rick Creashy's AI Assistant. And we can see we're giving it some instructions here. We're saying, you will provide me answers from the given information. If the answer is not included, what do you say? I'm not sure. And then stop after that. And we're telling it to refuse to answer any question not about the information, and that it should never break character. Well, I'm going to change that a little bit here. I'm going to get rid of all of this text, and I'm going to modify it a little bit. And I'm going to say, if the answer is not included, maybe I want it to say something different. Like, I'm not sure. Please contact service@trainertests.com for more information. So something a little bit better than just, I'm not sure. I don't want to send them to a dead end like that. I want them to be able to know what the next step is if it can't answer a question. I can also choose the model. So we've been learning all about ChatGPT, and we've been looking at the differences between ChatGPT version 3.5 and ChatGPT version 4. And as you get to GPT-4 and GPT-4 Turbo, you're going to get better answers, and it's not going to hallucinate as often. It's not going to get confused and give incorrect answers more often. But those models are more complex and slower and more expensive than ChatGPT 3.5. So you can see here, one message using GPT 3.5 costs 1 message credit. One message using GPT-4 Turbo is 10 times as expensive. And one message using GPT-4 is actually 20 times as expensive. So when we're thinking about the pricing model here, if it's working fine with GPT version 3.5, that's probably the ideal version to stick with because it's going to be the least expensive. We also have the ability to change the temperature. How creative do we want to allow this chatbot to be? If I move the slider all the way over here to the right, I'm going to allow it to be very creative. But if I move the slider all the way over to the left, it's going to be very reserved and very strict as to how it can answer questions. So let's perform a couple tests here with the temperature at 0, which is the default, by the way. I'm just going to save those changes. I'm going to go to Chatbot, and I'm going to ask it again a question that it does not know the answer to. I'm just going to ask it how old I am. And it should say, I don't know. But it's also giving the email address here if they want to get more information. So by changing the model here, we can impact the behavior and the way that this chatbot interacts with our customers. In this lab, we're going to create our own custom chatbot in ChatBase. And again, this lab is going to closely follow some of the demos that you've seen in the videos. So we're going to go to ChatBase, and you can see the link here in your lab manual to create your own custom chatbot. Now, I'm going to have you train the chatbot using my website. But if you have a different website you'd like to use, feel free to put it in here. What I would just suggest is choose a website that doesn't have too many links, because if you choose a really large website with many links, it's not going to work with the free version of ChatBase. So this website will work just fine. Or you can pick a different one and try it out. You can really try whatever you want here. And the chatbot is going to crawl the website. It's going to find out information about all of the links, and then you can start asking it questions. So these are sample questions for my website. But again, if you're using some other website, ask it whatever you want. get creative and try different things here. We're also going to change the way that the chatbot behaves by changing the model. And we're going to train the chatbot with some text. And finally, when you finish this lab, don't delete this chatbot that you're going to create here, because we're going to use this same chatbot in a lab that comes up later.